This is the day the Lord has made. So let us rejoice and be glad in it. Today is Friday, March the 5th. I am Pastor Marianne Kellenbach, pastor at Living Faith Church, which is located in the community of tradition in Port St. Lucie, Florida. A big shout out to Bill Parrott, who celebrates a birthday today. So this week we're talking about love. Our entire Lenten devotions are listening to what Jesus is saying to us, because at the Transfiguration, God spoke these words to the disciples and to us. This is my beloved Son. He's speaking of Jesus, right? God with us, God incarnate. This is my beloved Son. Listen to him. So if we're to listen to Jesus, what is it that Jesus is telling us? And this week we're focusing on love, the greatest commandment, to love the Lord our God with all our heart, all our soul, and all our might, and to love our neighbors as ourselves. I've learned that's right. We're taught that as children. That's the golden rule. Love our neighbors as ourselves. I've learned about the platinum rule, and that is love our neighbors as our neighbors would like to be loved. How I want someone to express their love to me may be very different than how someone else would like love to be expressed to them. So I love that one. But the key here is love. Absolutely love. Love of God, love of neighbor. How do we know love? Because we are loved first. That's the only way we truly understand love that is unconditional. We heard on Sunday, I talked about the values of the SNCC that was organized in 1958 out of Fisk University and the American Baptist College in Nashville, Tennessee, and that it all has to do with unconditional love. Not love because someone loves us, not love because we're going to get something out of them, but love because of who the other person is in and of themselves, that they are a child of God, that they are part of creation, and we are called to love all creatures, including human creatures and each other. We hear Jesus say at the Last Supper, the last Passover meal that he celebrates with his disciples prior to his arrest. In the Gospel of John, this is what Jesus leaves the disciples with. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. You also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. That is so similar to the gospel that I had put out in our devotion for yesterday, right? How will people know that we are children of the Most High God? By our behavior. And what Jesus says right here is, just as I have loved you, unconditionally, just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. And by this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. We are taught by our Creator to love. And if we look at the late 1950s, early 1960s, those that wanted changes in the South, in which change was long, long overdue. Federal government had made laws that required that desegregation begin to happen in the southern states. However, the southern states had their own set of laws, what is called the Jim Crow laws, the laws that said, no, I don't care what the federal government says. Our state laws will take precedence. And those laws called for segregation based on the color of your skin. Based on the color of your skin. Nothing else is different, just the color of skin. And because of that, an entire group of people were segregated, were made to be something other than equal. They were made to be less than. Those that began to stand up to this separation, this segregation, did so out of love for each other. And they did so without raising their fists. They actually loved their enemy. They loved their enemy. John Lewis speaks to this. John Lewis didn't hate those that broke bats over his head and caused concussions and caused him to be in the hospital, even though he was dragged into a jail. He did not hate. He did not hate. What he understood was that they did not understand what they were doing. That's the kind of love that we're called to have for each other. The kind of love that when our cheek is slapped, we turn the other way. We turn the other cheek. And I'm not advocating abuse. That is the number one thing that needs to be understood. What I'm talking about is the kind of love that meets hate straight on and says, even though you hate me, I still love you. That's unconditional love. On this day, on this Friday, March the 5th, may you begin to live into and out of this unconditional love that has been given to you. And I will see you tomorrow for Contemplative Prayer Saturday. Blessings.